welcome back. Back? I'll start again, but that's kind of funny. Now we're going to do a blog based on the content of my 8th album, One More Rung on the Ladder to the Moon. It's Christmas Day, and I'm wearing a Christmassy jumper. I've got back from work in the pub, and it says your grotto or mine. Always a saucy fellow. I'm on the Irish cream, why not? Let's get some context about what this is really about. So, as usual, when I go into creative mode, there's always an overspill, and this is basically the album. The two albums I released in 2018, Star Waltz, and then this, are basically from the same recording sessions and writing sessions. This is the more experimental side. There is some context to it. One More Rung on the Ladder to the Moon. That came about from the title song, Ladder to the Moon, which I think is one of the best things I've ever written, actually. As I may have mentioned in the last album vlog, I suddenly got into this way of writing songs like that, fully formed, like I said, roll boys roll. And this is really where it comes into its own. There are some elements here. At the time, let's give you some more context. I went for a walk. I was running a mental health charity walk group, and everybody would donate a £5 and we donated to a mental health charity and we'd all go for a walk. In the end, that sadly petered out, and I was going for walks on my own, and I thought, this is just stupid. It's not blaming anybody, it just ended up like that. And part of that was that I started to work the weekends again, and I know and people want to walk in their free time, in the weekends. Anyway, one of the walks was really hot in June in Polzeath. It was a great day. Went up to Pentire Point. It's a very, very beautiful site, overlooking the River Camel estuary, looking over to Padstow Rock, etc. It's one of the most beautiful points in Cornwall. And I parked in the old what they call the old lead mines and walked around. And so I come up with this idea of a song afterwards, because that day I took a lot of footage over the last few days and made it into a film based on some of the pieces I was working on anyway. And I ended up jamming on a thing in 5/4 on a drum machine and coming up with a basic riff in G and D minor, and it ended up being called In the Lead Mines. And it's a piece of fiction. I'll show you, it's a good opener actually. The original is much more sparse. It's a piece of fiction about somebody winning a battle and romantically saluting the fallen, like an old crow he stood. It's very sparse, there's no bass line. It does come in a bit though later. It's got a certain atmosphere to it. The original he had in the film was much more sparse. That's some of the context. In that way. And now we get to the other thing. In 2018 I made a film where I basically just went for a walk in the summer solstice. And once again, like in the Lead Mines, there are some tracks that I just this more than the other film. They're two films, Live from the Lead Mines, Solar Maximum. Some songs came out totally fully formed, lyrics and everything. in on Solo Maximum particularly, it was Can't Go Home Anymore, which I think I renamed Don't Want to Go Home Anymore. No, it wasn't that. Contest for Longing, which was about a highwayman falling in love with a woman he was trying to rob. The Day the World Fell Down, which is, and of course Ladder to the Moon, and they all came out fully formed. How strange and bizarre. And the Ladder to the Moon is one of my absolute favourites. And I didn't know how they were going to produce them, but they ended up pretty solid, really. Don't Want to Go Home Anymore. It's very simple. It's a riff in D-A-D-G-A-E, and it starts off with this little sort of rundown, some harmonies, and then it's just basically a verse and an ending. For that reason, I don't think I'll probably play it live, but it does have a quality to it. A bit of context here is that I was in the Seaton Valley, the Buckloran side, Kevrell side, overlooking this beautiful vista. I think that had a lot to do with the songs I made up on that day, which is this, The Day the World Fell Down, and Ladder to the Moon. As you can see, it's quite bright and pleasant. The next one's almost like rap. It's really bizarre. This is a very experimental album, really. And there's lots of things in it that just came out of nowhere, but it's quite an experimental piece, really. I mean, most of these songs I probably wouldn't play live. This Palace of Industry is basically me talking about my upbringing in Northampton, the first 8 years of my life. And I'm just riffing on a drum beat.
I was
talking.
In a Midland town where they cobbled shoes together from bits.
Production-wise, I've kept a lot of things very simple, very sparse.
Brings the pollen and the ticks.
And it actually allows things to breathe a bit.
I was born on the
Contest of Longing starts with like a little riff. It's got quite unusual, regular sounding but slightly unusual chords for the chorus. Foot forwards again.
I walk through the woods.
This is a piece I made for the Solo Maximum video, and I'm just walking and narrating a walk, and there's some arpeggios and some nice ideas. And here we have the mighty Ladder to the Moon. Capo 2nd fret, D-A-D-G-A-E. And some of the ideas, drum machine wise, I'm sort of breaking up with like a bit crush and stutter effect which you'd normally use on vocals, and just chopping it up. So that's when you hear the pitch shift go up. There's like 2 or 3 panned or layered. And yeah, like I said, I think it's one of the strongest songs I've ever written. Of the 12 songs, I would say that you'd actually play live, it wouldn't be Don't Want to Go Home anymore, I expect. Though it's plausible. It's In the Lead Mines, Contest of Longing, Ladder to the Moon, and then a cappella, The Day the World Fell Down, The Empress, and One Last Time. So, much like some, even Urania's Mirror, the ideas are experimental, they're a learning curve, they're atmospheric pieces, but they're not pieces you can pick up a guitar and play and do them justice, really. I'm fine with that, it gives it a lot of flavour, and this is actually one of my more experimental albums, because at that time I didn't give a shit, really. I just wanted to get something done. I was on a roll, basically, and hit some other thing. The cover is very beautiful. It's, if you walk from Boscastle and you go past the old Coast Watch hut and go left, you eventually come to a place called Rocky Valley, in between Boscastle and Tintagel, and there are all these stacks of rocks out onto the sea, like bedroof and steps, where you've got, over the years, there's been erosion from the cliffs that have left these piles. It's very, very exceptionally beautiful. It's, again, one of my favourite, most beautiful places in Cornwall, and there's one that I noticed. On the cliff there was like a dip, and you walk down to the dip, and then you get this massive pile of rock out into the... you could almost reach out and touch it, but it's probably much further than it looks. And on the top there's a burial cairn. There's, you know, the layered stones. So somebody, however many hundreds of years ago, has climbed up there and buried somebody there and put a cairn on top of them. It's just mind-blowing, but it's very beautiful. And that was, again, another mental health walk. So all these things have a kind of context. Here's The Day the World Fell Down.
The day the world fell down, all the tears of a clown, all the masks of a harlequin, all the tears of a clown. The day the world ended, we sang and just pretended everything was still the same. Everything was still the same.
I just thought of an idea. I might segue to the end. And again, I'm breaking it up from what I traditionally was going to do in all the vlogs, album vlogs, which was riff a little bit on song content, album context and meaning. Deconstruct a track, that is, actually take a track that I've recorded and solo the layers so you could hear how it was built up, and then do a little bit on the artwork. But there's no real artwork series for this or Star Waltz, there's just the covers. But there's a lot of context in what I was doing in my life at the time, which is in it. The trip, like Star Waltz, it's a dedication to friends in a way. And some of the songs, at least one of the songs, is very old. And this is kind of the moment of that time when I was doing the walking for mental health, like charity ideas. You know, I never went for sponsorship, I never did anything like that, but we'd meet up on the weekends, we'd all drive somewhere, or I would drive, or a group of us would drive, then we'd do like either a circular walk or there and back walk on the High Coast Path, and people really enjoyed it. But like I said, my work circumstance changed. But we did some really corking ones, some things that I already knew, that I actually just wanted to share the beauty of that experience. And some things were new. This is something else. And I don't think this actually made it into either the Life and Lead Mines film, or this didn't make it even onto the Solo Maximum film. But this is another piece I riffed and made up on the spot. So that's another one. So I was really on it here. Roll Boys is a piece in 7/8. In my next album, I haven't gone into odd time much. I've kept it based on feel, really. But so we're going for pieces that I riffed up, if you like, between Starbox and now. And these are really twin albums because I recorded them all at the same time, more or less. This is kind of an overflow of activity, creative activity, and I didn't really know what to do with it, but I liked the feel of it, so I just released it. And it sort of stands on its own, really, actually. So from that point, the first song I ever wrote, where everything came together instantly, lyrics, everything, music, everything, Roll Boys Roll. Then Don't Want to Go Home Anymore, Contest of Longing, Ladder to the Moon, The Day the World Fell Down, The Empress. And since then I've done a few more bits like that, one called January Flood, another thing I did with my friend John on accordion. So it just goes to show you, if you just really open yourself up to the moment, you can get that feel. This is Capo on the 7th, D-A-D-G-A-E, as you might guess. I think this is vaguely, I don't know where I got this idea. It's about basically a lonely ruler who's really just a little girl who's an empress. But I think something about it is almost like the tarot card, the Empress. Just a thought. I found with that guitar tuning that it sounds a lot like a 12 string if you mess around with it, especially with the capo on high. Anyway, moving swiftly on. How to describe this? This is a piece of prose. It's called The Horses of Heaven. And when my friend John came down that year, 2018, we went for a walk from Wheelcote to St Agnes, Trevenant's Cove, and we went off on a ramble, and we ended up in this field, and it just, something in about that moment just hit me in the heart. And then the field was full of daisies, but you could see the sea, and there are two rocks off Trevenant's Cove that's like a mother. John said it was like a mother and child rock. And something just in my heart just exploded with feeling, and all the colours of nature seemed so pronounced. The daisies and the buttercups were so yellow, and I can't really explain it. It sounds so... But really, I was having this moment, but there was this horse that was looking on. It sounds so stupid when you try to contextualize these creative, expressive emotive moments, but there was this horse looking on. I got this weird feeling as well that I was never going to see my friend again, I guess. I don't know, I guess I so appreciated that moment that it was so hard to turn away and go back. The path was waiting for me to walk back, and it just seemed too soon. Anyway, it's kind of got some jazzy chords in it. very sparse. And then C major 7, Smiths-esque, Johnny Marr-esque, G sharp major 7. It's actually quite a sweet song, actually. Back again. Apologies. Dear viewers that don't exist. The people that never watch my stuff. It's kind of more doing this as just for the sake of it, and because it's kind of good to do it. It feels kind of like therapy. Minotaur's Death, a piece in 11/4, I believe, 11/8, or is it? Let's find out.
So she dressed up in a cow costume and then seduced it. And then the bull did actually marry her. And it was a holy bull, an old creek. And then she bore a child. And it was this hideous visage with a twisted boar's face, huge curling horns.
That's my friend John. At the time, I was working, as I said in the last vlog, I was working on an EP called The Song Birds at Dusk, and that's a piece for 3 vocal characters, Crow, Dagger and Nightingale. And at the time, John was perfect for the part of, not Crow, Dagger. It's Blackbird, Dagger and Nightingale. And John was perfect for the part of Dagger, and I was reworking ideas. Basically, I come up with this idea, this weird idea, the song The Stalker. I guess it doesn't really work actually, but the song The Stalker, I was going to elaborate into a 7-part EP. And I was deconstruct the song, which was a piece of fiction anyway, and spread it out over 7 pieces with different characters named after songbirds, the 2 lovers, and the Dagger character. And John, I got him to record a load of vocal parts. And one of the ideas was, I got him to riff in the background by talking about the myth of the Minotaur. In the end, I put it on a different piece, which is just some basic chordal ideas and tonal ideas in 11/4 with him talking over it, and it works great. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever revisit the Songbirds. I wrote it for my friend Dana when she was dying. I just don't know if I can. I had some people drop out as well. I had female vocalists, female vocal parts. Somebody said they were going to sing them and dropped out. That just encouraged me, and without that I was kind of at a standstill. And also now, I don't know. 11 Souls.
Just when you can't bear.
Weirdly, another piece in 11. 11 Souls Rock is a rock near in a place called Rump's Point. Away from, near Pentire Point, on the Polzeath Coast Path area. It's an extremely beautiful place. Well recommended. Go check out Rump's Point. It's very, very exceptionally beautiful.
The suffering any longer. You look down. All you can see is hurt. All you can see is pain. So you weigh down.
This is kind of, like I said, some of these pieces are just pure experimentation. There's no way I could ever make that into a live song. It's never going to work. Basically, this song is kind of about a crisis of faith, really. Oddly, it must have been August or early September, I don't know when it was, maybe July of 2018. I sort of lost faith. I kind of experienced it all at once. I kind of can't really put it into words. And this is about the searching for faith again and the finding of it again, because it hit me all in two different moments. I don't feel like this is the right place to talk about it, but it was powerful, but kind of redeeming as well. And I think you have to be the one, when you've had a crisis of faith, whatever it is, you have to be the one open to moving it forward. And you can't take life for granted, because so much things in life, it's so easy to moan, get distressed, annoyed, become anxious, become disheartened. But really, life is a miracle, really. It's so cheesy to say, but it's so true. And you only realise it when you lose somebody and you think, fucking hell, why didn't I treat them a bit better? Or I was so glad we did this, but I'm so sad we didn't get to do this, this and this. And it's always like that. And you just think, if I could just be a little bit more present in ordinary life, take more of life in every day, be more present, I could actually experience it better, make more of it. And that's what life, I feel, ultimately rewards you with. If you make the effort to do that, you will find it. It doesn't matter really what it is, or who you are, or where you are. But for me personally, it's in the writing of music. The feeling you get when you first write a piece of music. Standing on the coast path, just looking at this amazing visual feast. And I think these experiences of, I don't want to say bliss, but these experiences of pure joy, if you want to call it that, they do something chemically to you, which is really rewarding, powerful, and really important to the structure of the brain, I guess. It releases chemicals, serotonin or something. Anyway, moving on. One last time. I think it's Capo 9, but it's like a really simple riff, and it's kind of an old school riff. It's the kind of thing I would have written in 2004, I guess. But I've made it my own here. This album is 12 songs, but it's fairly short. I mean, there are 3 songs under 2 minutes. This is 2 minutes 24.
Going home one last time. Going home just to see where we once were free. Just to see where we once were free. Like children we do play by the sea.
So it's very simple. I've gone for very simple tones here, really. And that's about it for my 8th album. Once again, I feel like I've taken some really interesting fictional ideas, textural ideas, song ideas, and basically banged it all in with a hammer, and somehow it magically works. This, you'll know, looking back now, I mean, this is 2019, about to turn to 2020. So this album is 2018. So it's a good 2-year run of 4 albums and loads of other stuff. Live performances, loads of them. Live EPs. There's just a lot there. Things like I did a 20-minute version of Like a Feather improvised. I did it in the garden in 2018, and that just blew my mind, and so went straight back and tried to recapture really stepping into that moment. So there's lots of context here, and you can't really see One More Rung on the Ladder to the Moon and Star Waltz totally separate. A couple of live ideas, and yeah, I'm going to leave you with the song. I think will fade out in a nice piece of visual. The Day the World Fell Down. So thanks for listening, whoever listens. Probably not many people, never has been. But yeah, nothing's going to stop me, and you can see the way that I've worked with textures. When eventually I get round to doing the Dream After Dream 9th album vlog, it's like that, but more so. It's the most baroque side. If you take the different shades, the darker shades or the deeper cuts from Cherry Trees, and the stranger side of One More Rung on the Ladder to the Moon, if you plonk in a load of baroque elements, and Depeche Mode feel and organ element, there's a lot of organ elements and a lot of folk aspects actually, in different ways, and bang them all in with a hammer, you'll probably end up with Dream After Dream in its own context. Originally I had planned to do, there's 3 albums that I have never finished. Box of Tricks, which I wrote around the time of Dream Cage, etc., and Endless Blinking of the Sunlight, which I actually wrote really quickly together with another one. Endless Blinking of the Sunlight, like Jim Palace, ended up being half new songs, half old songs, like Jim Palace. And then of course Fear Not Thy Spirit, which I made a little film about the making of, which I was determined then to work on next. And of course One Lonely Child Dancing to Noise. However, I don't think all of those songs on both of those ideas will make the final cut. I've never really looked into Box of Tricks. It may have just been a songwriting exercise. So thanks, man. Anyone listening, if anyone does listen to these things, thanks a lot, and Merry Christmas. And I hope that you feel entertained, and I hope that you've enjoyed my rants. Thank you.
The day the world fell down, I wore the tears of a clown. I wore the mask of a harlequin. I wore the tears of a clown. The day the world ended, we sat around and just pretended everything was still the same. Everything was still the same. The day the world drowned, I wore my ashen frown. That purple gown of a drowned landscape, a drowned